Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm going to be teaching you guys how to use a Screencast Matic. It's one of the applications that we recommend you using for screen capture. It's OS independent, so what that means is it should be exactly the same on a PC and a Mac, and you can also use this on Chromebooks also too. We chose this particular piece of software because it's easy to use and it's free. There's a couple things before we get started over here that I wanted to highlight. There are some limitations with free software, and so these are a couple of things. There is a 15-minute time limit for each clip. And anyhow, when you're chunking your lessons, you probably shouldn't have it more than 15 minutes at a time. That way, you don't lose the student engagement. The second thing is we are using the free pieces of the free version of the software, so it doesn't include a video editor, so you don't have all the fancy options to cut in the middle of your lecture and all that. Basically, it's a real-time recorder. So just keep that in mind, because there are some options on top of the software. You're going to say, well, can't we just click this? Can't we use this function? You can if you pay for it, but right now we're just using the free options. So first thing first, to get started, if I can get you guys to actually log on to the website here, it's screencastomatic.com. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on that recording for free here. Anytime you want to launch this recorder, you have to go to this website here. So I would bookmark this page, put it on your shortcuts, put it on your desktop. So you can click Start Recording for Free, which will take you to a second page here. And then we're going to click Launch the free recorder. Regardless whether you're using a PC or Mac, you may come up with a couple of security warnings that come up. Just to prove them, give that a second. We actually are in the software right now. Is everybody okay? Everybody in the screen capture? Okay. So first thing I want to cover over here are the options that you have before we start recording. The first one, the most common one that people use here is the entire screen recording here. So basically what that'll do is capture anything that you do on your screen, pretty self-explanatory. The second option you have, if you want to use a webcam. So if you don't want to record your desktop and you just want you in the window, you can do that. Or you can have both, which acts like a picture-in-picture function. You can have your desktop and a picture of yourself in the corner. So just remember, you have a maximum of 15 minutes here, unless you upgrade. But 15 minutes, again, to me, is more than enough time to actually do a recording. The second thing, and it's really important here, is the size of your recording. This is going to make a big difference when you're uploading it to YouTube over here. We try to stick with standard resolutions over here. Either use 720p, which is an HD format, HD resolution, and some of you may actually have higher resolutions depending on your screen, so 1080. And if you do have that option, I would highly recommend that. The higher the resolution, the clearer the text is going to be. So this particular laptop over here, we're using 720, but if you have the option, use the 1080. Mics. So this is something pretty important also too. You may use the mic that's on your laptop, and if you have a headset, if you've taught distance classes before, a headset with a mic will be much clearer than actually using the desktop mic. This is where you would actually select it here. Because I don't have one here, I'm going to use the built-in microphone. But from this menu, you can also select a headphone mic, which I highly recommend. One thing that you want to, we also want to confirm that you're actually getting signal here. So as you're talking, you're going to see these green bars moving. Make sure you see that. Do not start your recording until you see these green bars. Then make sure that we're getting an audio signal in here. Capture computer audio. This is not available with the free version. Again, it's kind of irrelevant for what we do, but just in case, there is an option there. Okay. So at this point in time right now, all we're going to do is we're going to click record at the very bottom here to start the recording. Anything on your screen will be recorded over here. So at this point of time, you would have your PowerPoint going through your PowerPoint slides one by one during your lecture. You could also be doing your Lalima or anything, again. Whatever you want your students to see on the screen is going to be recorded as is. When you're done, click the pause button. And then click the done button. Again, there are some functions here just to clarify over here. We don't have the edit video function because this is the free version. We want to click on the save and upload. What this is going to do is we're going to actually create an MP4 file. So we're going to save that video file. Now you're looking at the other options at the bottom and you're asking, hey, wait a minute. We're going to upload this stuff to YouTube. Why don't we just use the YouTube option on the bottom here? Well, you can, but here's the thing. After testing, what we found is it kind of works half the time. So what we're doing is we're actually going to go through the whole tutorial here to make sure so you guys don't get frustrated in the end saying, hey, this is supposed to work when it doesn't. We don't want technology to interfere with your actual teaching. So what we're going to do is save this as a video file. This is going to create an MP4 file, which is universal to upload to YouTube, to any social media, and also Laulima, if you want to. Second option, what we want to do is make sure that we give it a meaningful file name. And this is something in the naming convention I think is really important here. Especially if you're going to do this for a number of classes, I generally recommend the course number, and that 01 is the sequence of the videos that you're recording. That way, if you ever sort it later on, it'll be in order. Without that, it's hard to find. So this is the syntax that I recommend. Again, you can use your own, but I recommend that. In terms of browse, we're going to click the next thing, which is browser. It's just asking you where you want to store that document, that file over here. Again, pay attention to this because this is one of those questions we get all the time. We do a recording and they're asking, where's my file? Take note where this file is, whether it be on your desktop or whether it's going to be in your documents. My recommendation is to put it somewhere that you're familiar. I put it in movies. Some of you may put it on your desktop because right after this, we're going to upload it to YouTube. So just make sure you know where that file is at. So take note. We're not going to worry about captions because in the next part, in our next lesson, when after we upload it to YouTube, it's going to auto caption. So it's going to take a lot of the work out of this. So is everybody okay? You guys got your file? You got you named it? You know where your file's going? Everybody's good? We're going to click publish. So at this point in time right now, you've actually completed the screen captures. There's a couple things you can do here. First thing first, I would highly recommend before you publish this thing to YouTube or distribute it to actually play your video back. So that's the first option here. And now that we have a workable file, we're going to click on the second option here, which is called Browse Folder. This will take you exactly where your file is at. So just in case you kind of forgot where you put that, it's right here now. And after you've done all that, done. At that point, you've actually completed it. So you've created your video capture, simple as 1, 2, 3, and now it's ready for upload. Okay, so the second part of this tutorial over here, we're going to upload your video to YouTube. There's a couple reasons why we decided to use and we recommend YouTube over Laulima and some of the other things. Number one, it's very familiar with all the students, and most of you folks have grown up with YouTube. YouTube is very commonly used everywhere from high school students, from elementary school students, all the way up into graduate students and beyond. So it's a very accepted platform. Second thing, it's very accessible on devices, and what I mean by that is it doesn't require any codecs with special video codes. It does not require special devices or software to actually use. It's completely web-driven. And that's important nowadays because what we were finding is a lot of these students, and what we find is they're actually accessing the information through their mobile devices and not their desktops. So what YouTube will do is automatically scale the resolution for that particular device. So you can deliver that, they can watch it any place, anytime, anywhere. And one of the really important features, and I think it's going to help you folks, is the auto captioning feature. So one of the things to meet ADA compliance that we need to do is caption videos. What YouTube will do, it'll try its very best using AI learning to actually caption your videos. It takes a few minutes, but and it's not 100% correct, but it's about 80% correct. And still, that's better than nothing. So what we're going to do is, first thing first, I want you folks to actually log into your Gmail, into your Hawaii.edu accounts. Or if not, alternatively, you can also go into your YouTube. You can just go into YouTube. Yeah. Now, I assume this, but assuming is not always the best thing over here. How many of you have actually activated the Google third-party apps on your Hawaii.edu account? Okay, do you folks know what that is? Okay, well, the university gives us access to a plethora of tools like mail. They may give you things like calendar, but you're going to notice that you don't have access to YouTube and Hangouts and a number of those. So I'm going to pop this up onto the screen right now for you folks that don't. I did this a long time ago. You want to go to this website, open up another browser window and go to hawaii.edu/Google/extra. You're going to see this screen that comes up here. What you want to do at this point, you want to log in to this screen. This is a ITS system level. It will authorize all the third-party apps that you see on the bottom to your account. So yeah, this is really important. Okay, so log in. If you've already activated your account, you should see this message up here. But if not, it's going to ask you if you want to authorize this, and just click OK. So if you see this message on the top of the screen after you log in, that means you have Google and YouTube access. Now, when you go to your Gmail, when you select your applications on the upper right-hand corner here, we want to scroll down here to our YouTube application. It's as simple as this now. This is where we get to the easy part. So we're looking again at the upper right-hand corner here. There's a little icon here that says Create a Video and More. Click on that. You'll have two options, but we're going to use Upload Video. You guys remember where you stored your video? We're just going to drag and drop it into the window, or if not, we can select the file. Okay, so we kind of went over that. Because we already had named the file in the Screencast-O-Matic, it's going to preserve that name there. The description can be anything. What I would recommend is you actually filling out. Some people leave this thing blank, but your students are going to be actually looking through the videos. So it's something brief. Another thing too that I do recommend is maybe a couple of the general learning outcomes of that particular, just 3 or 4 bullet points. What exactly is coming out of that particular lesson? We're going to go to playlists here. Now, playlists, this is something that's really important that a lot of people do not use. And this is, I highly, highly recommend that you do this. If you don't use playlists, what's going to happen is, let's say you have 20 different lectures over here for different classes. It's going to all end up all jumbled up in one folder. It's going to be really tough to find, even if with the naming conventions. And it's going to make it very confusing for your students to actually find these particular lessons. By using playlists, we can create one playlist per course and give that address, that email, that URL to your students. Anytime that they log onto that, you can see all the new lessons that pop up onto it. So it's segregated, so it keeps it organized. So let's click on that playlist. And so what we want to do is click New Playlist at the bottom. You guys got that? So we're going to click New Playlist on the bottom. And I'm going to name this, so I'm acting like this is Geography 480. In terms of when we talk about visibility over here, what I recommend, because this is a private lesson and you don't want this to go out to the entire world over here when people search on the search engine, we're going to set that to unlisted. So unlisted means anybody with the link can open it, but it's not going to come up in a Google search, Yahoo search, or anything like that. Yeah, so that's the best thing to do. There are other levels of security. We can use private, but that's an entirely different lesson. Right now, we're trying to use the path of least resistance right now and easiest for you folks. I'll be glad. If you guys want to go over the full private channels, we can do that later on. But right now, this is the easiest way to actually keep it contained. So we'll click Create. So what you're going to see now is a list of all your channels that we have here. This is a really important step. Just because you created the playlist over here doesn't mean your video is in the playlist. I see. So make sure that you click it off. So I'm sticking it now in the Geography 480 list. Okay. One more step that we have to do. This is new to YouTube over here. Your audience now. This is a new federal thing. So it's asking you, is this video intended for minors under the age of 18? And because it's not, click no. Because it's easy to, I have to think about this for a second. Kids. Well, college kids, right? Do I click yes or no? But no, yeah, the main intent is not for minors over here, so we would click no. So basically, that's it for this particular video, okay? But before I move on over here, I just want to point this out over here. In case you don't want to distribute that playlist, and let's say you just want that one video up in Laulima over here, just to make sure everyone's focused here. If you look up at the screen right now, right below this window of your preview here, this is the direct link to the video. So you can click that. You can cut and paste that into Laulima. But right now, we have everything all set up. We're going to click next. Take the defaults, click next. Now, we set the visibility for the playlist. Okay, so now that is unlisted. No one can see our playlist. We also have to specify that for the video also too. Because if you don't, and you click on public, what's going to happen is other YouTube users will be able to find it on YouTube. So we want to make sure we click unlisted. And then lastly, we'll click save. So your video is published, it's being processed. It will take a few minutes for the high resolution version to actually appear. If you preview it right now, what you'll see is just a low resolution version. So give it a few minutes. So now that we have our video, if you look on the left-hand pane, there is a menu for playlists here. We can click onto that. And these are all your playlists over here. If I click on this geography playlist that we just created, you can see there's one video in here. So to distribute this over here, this is my suggestion to you. Instead of sending individual videos, what we can do is we can click the share button. And this is your playlist video, your playlist URL. So when you stick this into Laulima and someone clicks onto that, anytime you add a new video, it'll automatically come to this playlist over here. And remember, we were talking about our naming convention, right? So that's why it's so important to have maybe the CRN or the course number and a sequence of numbers, 01, 02, 03, 04, so it'll appear in that order. And yeah, that's about it. The last thing I want to show you is, if you want to get to this playlist menu, it's not exactly intuitive. If you click on the YouTube icon here at the very top, this will take you back to the main menu like you just logged in. And now you're looking, how do I get to my playlist? Because I don't see anything here, right? You want to click on Library. And if you scroll down on the screen here, you'll see all your playlists come up. So this is how you would find it from the main YouTube page. And yeah, that's about it, guys. You just cut and paste that, put it into your Laulima, and you're good to go. What I do want to show you is one final thing, and I always keep adding this final thing over here. In a few minutes, what will happen is an icon will pop up here. It'll say closed captioning. That's the auto closed caption. So it won't appear for the first probably 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how long your video is. It may take up to 20 minutes. Closed captioning should appear though on top of there. So just to let you know.